Even before last night, you shoot the ball very well. What do you think's working well? Why are those looks going right now?
Well, we're getting pretty good shots. I would say that much. I think there is a fair share of catch and shoot shots with a fair amount of being open or lightly contested, etc. So that's, I think, always the key. Can you get rhythm? Not contested ones, I think, is where it starts. Taking good ones. It's a little early to that's why I was chuckling about it. All these throwing stats at me.
It's officially the 5 game.
Yeah, they sent me a big season wrap up already, and I just moved on to the next. I'm not quite ready for that yet. But.
I'll say nothing against them.
Yeah.
In the same vein, I think we can just say it's early for all of this stuff, but making all these shots has ruined your offensive rebounding percentage. In all seriousness, have you liked what you've seen in that pursuit, or what's going on with the percentage being relatively low for you guys?
I mean, listen, I think that it's certainly that has a lot to do with it, right? When there's the opportunity to get them, there's the quantity of them that are there. I mean, obviously teams know that that's part of what we do, and I thought especially Miami just did a great job of just absolutely, checking us out hard early and often during the game. So we're going to have to, understand that that's coming and figure out some kind of counters to that. Yeah, that's it, I guess.
Watching from home last night, a thought occurred to me. What position does Pascal play?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, he's obviously, he obviously is handling the ball a lot, right? Which is the normal point guard position. So he's, but he's not really a traditional point guard either. He's just kind of the initiator of our offense, is what I would say a lot, right? And back to the offensive shot selection or whatever, I think that we're making pretty good choices, and it's gotten a little bit better as we've gone on here. Just again, the shots seem to be good ones. When there's still a few, like, you kind of scratch your head and say, why did we do that, once in a while here and there, but that's probably when it's only a few or 4 or 5 a game, you're probably okay with. But I think that with how we're doing some things, Pascal ends up handling the ball a lot, enables Fred to play off the ball, to utilize some of his strengths in the catch and shoot. Fred's obviously a good screen setter as well. Those two guys work together pretty well, so I'm not really sure he has a position.
Is it too early to say that you're watching an athlete go to another level?
Oh, I don't know. I think that his level of engagement from kind of the moment the season ended last year, all summer. I think you guys probably saw a lot. I said when I'd see him, I was just like, boy, his workouts were at a high level. You could just see great concentration and desire in him. He's playing both ends with great desire. And again, just looks comfortable with the ball out there. So, he certainly is playing very well. And I think that, people that have seen us a little bit, not as much as you guys all do, say the same. They look at him and say, geez, he almost looks a little different this year. He looks really good. And I would echo that, yeah.
Better thoughts of yours coming because guys know each other better and they know where they're going to be and where they like the ball, and they have a better continuity?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that always helps. I think there's, again, the premise is just to make the right next play, right? The next play is the right one, and a lot of times that's moving it on quickly. I think we're seeing a lot of that. I think we're seeing a lot of, taking advantage of mismatches or just finding the right areas, and spacing's been a big thing too. It seems, our spacing seems to be getting a little bit better too. And it isn't just standing there spaced. There's some continuity with those guys changing sides of the floor and getting respaced, or being in the paint and, you know, getting out of the paint and respacing, and some of that stuff I think comes with continuity. Yeah.
Hey Nick, to that point, philosophically, what does it take to get through a team in general to be unselfish? Because oftentimes players and coaches talk about, we want to be unselfish, we need to be unselfish, but then it doesn't happen. And so far, I mean, it's a weekend, but this team's moving the ball a lot, and guys are looking for the pass, the extra pass, the third pass, and playing truly unselfish ball, and it takes time to get there, or how do you get through it?
Yeah, and it's not like it's always solved either, right? There's always some up and down moments in the year when you see different coverages. I mean, I'm sure we're going to see a whole, you know, different schemes tomorrow, and we gotta. It always is kind of a puzzle to crack as the game goes on, right? But you know, I think that you got to try to learn your lessons as you're in preseason going. I mean, we had some not good ball movement in some of our preseason games, and we really got to work on that. And you know, there's some of it is drilling, and some of it's, you know, changing some of the sets, the way they look, you know, almost forcing passing just by some of the things you're running. But I'd much rather have it be, you know, kind of a organic thing that they just realize they've got to just make the next best play.
I want to ask you about Thad, a couple games now where he hasn't gotten in. Where do you see his role going forward? Do you consider him as part of the rotation, or is he more of a situational guy, depending on matchup and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to stay ready. That's I talked to him, you know, immediately after the Miami game, and he was like, you know, Coach, I'm ready, and I'll always be ready, and you know, totally with what we're doing, all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't say that I planned on not using him in Miami that night. Really, just kind of how it turned out. And we'll see. We're going to need him. There's just no doubt about it. I don't really have an direct answer for your question. It's kind of a night-to-night thing.
Presuming Otto is back Friday or Monday soon.
Yeah, Otto's actually out for personal reasons.
Today.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit. Yeah.
Well, okay.
You want to? Do you still have a question?
Is it nice to? Because I mean, it would be back to integrate him at a time when, you know, the bench has kind of picked up a little bit. The shooting is good. Like, you're not sort of looking for him to be kind of solve all your problems all at once. But I can ask that.
No. Yeah. I mean, listen. I think that we want him back. He's a high-level player and a high-level shooter, which we certainly need, right? So I would assume he's going to get right into the rotation, and then we'll figure out how that affects the rest of it there. Yeah, I think there's a lot of times I think that I'm looking to keep shooting on the floor, and that's a lot of the times why I'm subbing Gary back in fairly quickly and Freddie back in fairly quickly, and just making sure there's enough balance out there. And it isn't that easy, because there is times when we get out there with, you know, a really big lineup, right? And those guys can all pop and make their share, but, you know, they're not necessarily shooters, right? I mean, you know, I'm saying that. Well, maybe they are. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah.
Nick, back to the three-point shooting. Last year, you guys ranked 20th. But when you factor in, you know, Fred's numbers were down after the All-Star break, Precious coming on after the All-Star break, OG missing so much time, do you think that number was necessarily reflective of what you had?
I mean, listen, I just try not to get all that caught up in it, right? I mean, I know dissecting it and trying to figure out why the numbers are what they are is fun to do, or maybe not fun to do, one of the two. Yeah, I think you make good points. All those things are factors, right, of why it is and why it turns out that way. But it seems to me that like, you know, there's times out there, especially when, you know, if Precious and Chris are throwing in one or two, you look out there and everybody's capable, right? You got Precious at the 5, and you know, you come down and you look at Pascal handling and Freddie, Gary, and OG on the perimeter, and then if Precious has to pop out there too, it isn't like they can just totally disrespect it, right? So that's you know, you can't ask for that much more than that out there. I mean, you certainly always can, but you know what I mean. There's threats to keep spacing out there.
We've spoken a lot about how Pascal has managed the game and the possession and sort of seeing what's out there. On Saturday, Fred has a huge offensive role. Yesterday, Fred has a smaller offensive role until the last few minutes. How impressed are you with not only how he's done it, but his willingness to sort of take the games as they come?
Who?
Fred. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know you want him to err on the side of aggressiveness.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean, I think it's. I mean, we're wanting him to, get some more attempts. He's just too good a shooter for us to go, up and down for a large sections of the game without him getting some attempts. So, we try to get him involved with setting screens for him, coming off the ball, not being on the ball in ball screens, because, sometimes a lot of teams are just switching or blitzing or whatever to make him get off it. So we're setting some off the ball. We're letting him set and try to, meander out or slip out. So we're just trying to use a bunch of different tactics. Again, I think that the Saturday game, the second game in Miami, whatever it was
Monday,
the Monday's game in Miami. I just thought he was, like I said yesterday, he was more aggressive in transition, and I think he's got to be. And I don't mean fast break. I just mean up the floor and pace and making something happen quick and taking some opportunities there as well.
Thanks, man.
All right, everybody. Thank you.
Chris, Freddie was saying how you were kind of annoying on the bench because you had all this energy to finally get back in. How does it feel having these couple of games with energy?
You said I was annoying?
Because of the energy you had that you needed to get out.
I mean, it's just because, I don't know, I've been wanting to play, obviously. After last year, I think we were all excited coming back. So, I was definitely moving around a lot and stuff and itchy to come back. So, I'm happy to be back for sure.
How excited or optimistic are you about what a bench unit can look like when Otto gets back and you guys really get a rhythm? They're 5-10 games in a pretty steady rotation.
I mean, I think it could be exciting. We could play a lot of different positions. I think we all starting to realize our role and how we can help the team. And I think it's a good combination of tall guys that can do a lot of different things. It could be really disturbing for the other team. So hopefully we can figure it out quick and keep helping the starters to win games.
Most people growing up play guards are guards, forwards are forwards, centers are centers. That's sort of the position you play in. What position is Pascal playing now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He plays every position. At this point, he's a shooter sometimes. You bring the ball sometimes. Post move. I think he plays every position, which is I think what coach is trying to make. Everybody be positionless, and he's one of the guys that can show us the way because he does it every day.
I wanted to ask you about that little routine that you have when you come into the game. You sort of jump off the bench and sprint to the scorer's table. Where did that come from? Why do you do it? How long have you been doing it?
I just felt like, when I was walking to the game sometimes, it didn't get me ready. My legs are not ready and my mind is not ready. But when I ran there, I just felt like it's game time. And, by the time I get there, I know, okay, I'm about to be ready. And I get to feel my legs a little bit and see how, I'm going to be playing today. Because obviously, it's really important for me to bring energy. And I think that's a way to show it that I'm ready for the coach, but also for myself.
It's not easy to be on the same team twice over the schedule now. You guys play the same team kind of back to back. Is it exciting? Do you look forward to the challenge?
It's weird to me, honestly, to play the same team every time, but it is what it is. I don't really know the reason what it is, but it definitely feels weird. I feel like I'm playing a video game, so you play the same team every time. Yeah.
Cassius was saying that one of the tangible ways he has chemistry with you is he knows when you're on the defensive end, he can roam a little bit, and he knows that you've got his back. What are maybe one or two of the tangible ways that you have that chemistry with him?
We're playing hard, so that's something that helps for sure. But I think one thing that those closeout, knowing that I have him in the paint, you kind of take more risks knowing that your teammate's gonna help me, and it's kind of weird chemistry because we didn't really see it coming, but they all figured it out. So it's really nice to play against Wood Precious. I think one thing that I like about him is he feeds off my energy. I feed off his energy. We laugh, we joke around and stuff. We all had to figure it out so much stuff together when the bench was not good. So we were supporting each other. So now it's still the same, and we're playing at the same time, so it's good.
How much did that sort of phase help when, early last season you had your struggles, he had his struggles? How much did that sort of help you guys bond?
We believe in each other. You know what I'm saying? As much as they were talking about us, we always knew that we were able to do something and we were going to figure it out, no matter how much time it took. And obviously, he's really talented. So, guys like that usually they figure it out. And same thing with me. So having him with me, telling me to continue to be fine, and I was saying the same thing to him. It was a great way to get out the sun.
Was there something that maybe you took from his approach to like coping with struggles or anything that you learned?
Being aggressive, I think he's really aggressive. That's something I've seen from him, and I really liked from the first day he came here. So, I took that with me, and I was like, you know what? My confidence always been high, but playing with aggressive and kind of knowing what you want to do when you go on the court, I think he always had that. You can see he goes with force and all that, and that's stuff that I wanted to take. So, yeah.
Scottie, I was just asking Chris about that little ritual that he does when he comes into the game, kind of jumping off the bench and sprinting to the scores table. He said he does it as sort of like fitting in the way that he plays coming into the game and bringing that energy. When you see him come in with that kind of energy, does that kind of let you know that he's ready to go?
I think Chris always comes with that energy. He always has that mindset when he comes in the game to really just bring that energy, bring that intensity, and try to do whatever he can when he steps on the floor to try to help us get an advantage coming off the bench.
How much of a difference has it made having him back with that second year?
Chris, he's a person that can make shots, get offensive rebounds, crash the boards, get defensive rebounds, be able to protect the rim. He does a lot for us.
Scott, it's the second time you guys have played the same opponent back-to-back. What's different about it compared to what you've done in other years? Just every team.
Well, I only played 1 year, but I just
your
feel.
experience, bud.
Yeah, I would say it's a different feel. I would say. So I guess it's something new that they try to put into it. It's all right. It's not what I like, but it's all right.
I mean, you prefer to see a new team?
Yeah, I think it's more fun that way. But just gotta keep going with the game plan. Try to be better the next night than you were the previous. So it's a test for us.
In the first back-to-back with Miami, did it feel like much, or you sat out the second game? From what you saw, I guess, in the second game, did it look like much had changed in terms of how they prepared for you, or you prepared for them, or was it basically more of the same?
For sure. We lost the first one. We had to come back, regroup, find different things that we needed to tweak, play a little bit harder, have a better mindset going into the game. And I felt like we did that. So, like I said, it's just trying to be better the next night than you were the previous and just try to change little things to try to help your game plan so you could win.
What do you guys need to do better than tomorrow, even though you got the win? What sort of adjustments would you be looking for in tomorrow night's game?
Just keep trying to find those things to make it harder for Embiid and Harden. Just find those things that they've been telling us to just try to make it harder for them.
Is one of the things that's made this team so successful is that on any given night it seems one night Precious is getting 22 rebounds and last night Trent's getting 27 points, and it just seems to go up and down the lineup depending on who it is on any given night. And yet the starting five are doing what they're doing.
We have so many different players that can do so many different things. I feel like that's one thing. That's a great thing about this team. We have so many different people that can score, so many different people that can rebound, so many different people that can play defense and impact the game in so many different ways. So I feel like that's a great thing about this team. Any night can be anybody's night.
I asked Nick before the season what position do you play, and he said all of them. And watching Pascal now, it seems like he's now playing all.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of unique to see a basketball player that can do the kind of things that he's doing.
What was the question?
How unique is what he's doing in big picture in the NBA?
He's doing so many different things for us. Rebounding, passing, scoring, playing defense on the other end. You guys see what he's doing out there on the floor with the numbers that he's putting up. he's a great player. He does so many different things. He's a unique player. Like you said, he's doing a lot for us.
Scottie, I was asking Nick about this as well. You're only a year and a bit. How do you get through, do you think, to each individual player, whether it be as an individual, whether it be the coach, to have that unselfishness? Because it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to actually do it and to not necessarily worry about your numbers on any given night and looking at what's best for the team, making that extra pass, looking for the extra guy. Like, how do you actually have that instilled as an individual and not have to, have somebody tell you to do it?
I feel like that's just, for me, I feel like that's just the way I always played. I was always an unselfish player, looking to just probably try to get others involved, trying to take those opportunities for me when I need to, whenever I find, I'm just trying to play the game the right way. So I feel like that's how I played growing up. Everybody's a different player. Everybody does different things. Some people shoot better than others. Some people get to the rim better than others. I feel like me, I just really just try to play the game wherever I see the right passes, wherever I try to take the opportunity and find the right play.
Now, can you answer collectively as a team, though, why this team seems to have that instilled more so?
Instilled as what? Like,
the unselfishness and not necessarily worrying about whose night it is.
I think we're just really just trying to win. I feel like that's the key to it. We're just trying to win. We're trying to find those things throughout the game that's going to really help us. If we see one person has a hot hand, we're going to go to that person. Gary and Pascal had a hot hand, so we're going to find different ways to try to get them more involved into the game. Any night can be anybody's night, so we just try to find those things, and I feel like that's what we go to.